Is the war with Iran moral? Is it just? And should it be continued? That is the principal question that we're dealing with today, beside which everything becomes irrelevant and obscure. You know, all of those people who say that they have no idea why we're fighting in Iran, where have you been for the last half century? Where were you? Those of you who say that Benjamin Netanyahu forced this war, the Jews or Israel, Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and all these anti-Semites, where were you when 250 American Marines in 1983 were blown to heaven, blown to hell by the Ayatollahs? Where were you to comfort their grieving widows, their grieving orphans? Where were you in 1979 when Ayatollah Khomeini came from Paris on that Air France chartered plane and immediately had his terrorists, take over the American embassy and terrorize for 444 days, 52 Americans, living like animals as they were guided outside, blindfolded, and made to fear while the most powerful nation on earth was brought to its knees, humiliated. Where were you? You're wondering why we're at war with Iran? Where were you when the American embassies were blown up all over Africa by Iran? American embassies. I'm not talking only about the JCC, the Jewish Community Center, blown up in Argentina, 189 dead. Maybe you don't care about dead Jews. A lot of people watching this don't give a damn. They're actually happy about dead Jews, but does that include dead Americans? Does your hatred of Israel extend to such a degree that you would want America to cease to protect its own people as long as Jews die? Wow, that's a lot of hatred. Where were you when our embassies were blown to bits by the Ayatollahs and the mullahs? Where were you when hundreds of thousands of people marched through Tehran, Esfahan, Shiraz, screaming death to America, the great Satan? Where were you? You don't get why we have a war against an annihilatory, genocidal government of maniacs, demented maniacs who want to build a nuclear bomb? Are you freaking nuts? You mean right now you'll take out an insurance policy for your car to make sure that if you get into a fender bender, you don't have to spend $10,000, or God forbid, if you get into something worse and you have to be in a wheelchair, they'll have some care. You'll pay that insurance policy. That you are worried about, that fender bender down the road in your neighborhood, but you're not worried about ensuring that Iran doesn't get a frickin' nuclear bomb. Are you crazy? You'll take out insurance in case a coconut, I grew up in Miami, could fall on your head to make sure that some crazy act of God doesn't befall you, but an act of man, demented terrorists are building nuclear weapons, which they say are going to bring death to America, and you want America to stand by and do nothing? You want Khamenei, who's now frying in hell. He's roasting in a spit in hell as we speak. Did you want that man to continue to grow in the wings like Adolf Hitler did? When everyone said, he's a clown. Hitler's a clown. A little cute mustache. Played by Charlie Chaplin in that famous movie, The Little Dictator. The Little Dictator, he's a clown. He has no armies. And 100 million dead people later, and 6 million murdered Jews later, gassed, their lungs filled with poison cyanide gas, Zyklon B. 1.5 million dead children, dead of hunger, starvation, consumption, disease, gas, bullets. 1.5 million, 6 million Jews, 1.5 million Jewish children. Later we say, maybe we shouldn't have let him grow in the wings. What is wrong with you guys? Let me tell you something. Do you think I want to see American boots on the ground and Americans at war? Do you think I want to see Israelis at war? I have sons that are both. They're Israeli Americans. They are at war. You think I want to see that? I post pictures of my hero sons, Mendy and Yosef, my daughter-in-law, Dalia, my daughter, Chana, 4 kids in the IDF. You think I want to see any of them ever wearing a military uniform? Do I take pride? Of course, because we've been annihilated for 2,000 years. But you think I want to stay up at night wondering whether, God forbid, we're going to get some news that I won't be able to handle? God, do you know what it's like to be the parents of children at war? No. Most of you don't, and you should never have to know. So why do I support this war? Because the whole idea of an army is to protect yourself before you're killed. You protect yourself before they drop the frickin' atom bomb. You protect yourself before they shove you on the damn train where you have no choice because they're either going to machine gun your children or you're going to get on that damn train to Treblinka and they're going to gas you. The whole reason you have an army is so that you still have options. You still have freedoms. You still have choices. What should I do if Hitler attacks? But once you're on that damn train platform, you have no choice. The 6 million were forced to their deaths. Where there's no choice. Had the Allies woken up in 1933 when Hitler was saying openly, I am going to destroy America, destroy democracy, kill all the Jews, had they taken him seriously, there wouldn't have been a Holocaust. So when the Iranians say, we're going to destroy America, but they don't have the means, and the only thing they can do, they're never going to have an army as strong as the U.S. military. They're never going to have an Air Force as strong as ours. They're never going to have Marines as strong as ours. Never going to have a Coast Guard as strong as ours. Never going to have an Air Force as strong as ours. Never going to have a Navy as strong as ours. The only equality they can create is what's called a nuclear bomb. Because a nuclear bomb takes a tin pot dictator, a guy who's got 2 nickels to rub together and makes him into a superpower. Like North Korea. North Korea doesn't have electricity. You've all seen the famous pictures they always show of South Korea and North Korea. Pictures taken by satellite at night, where South Korea is completely illuminated, one of the most industrialized countries in the world. A lot of you may be watching this right now through a Samsung device, built in South Korea. Maybe you're driving a Genesis, built in South Korea. And yet, South Korea sits and shakes every night for that impoverished neighbor to the north that doesn't have 2 cents to rub together because they have a nuclear bomb. You can be poor as hell, but you're a superpower if you have a nuclear bomb. You could be 2 terrorists hiding in some frickin' bunker, and you are the equivalent of the United States Air Force if you have a nuclear bomb. That's why so many Jewish scientists who are pacifists, Einstein, who wrote the letter to Roosevelt in 1938, Niels Bohr from Denmark, Jewish physicists who are pacifists, they all helped to build the first atomic bomb in New Mexico in the 1940s because they were so scared that Hitler would get the bomb. They all knew that without a bomb, Hitler would lose the war. Ultimately, Hitler's armies couldn't face the Russians and the French and the English and the Americans unless he had, you said it, an atomic bomb. So even all these pacifists came together in the mountains of New Mexico to build a bomb because they had to stop Hitler from getting it. And you're wondering why we're fighting against Iran. You're kidding me, right? You would give these demented lunatics who will kill women, who show hair, what I'm doing right now. You see, my yarmulke covers part of my head. Never leaves me. God is always above me. But the rest of my hair is completely exposed. Look at my beard. But if I was a woman in Iran and I showed this much hair, if I was a woman in Iran and showed this much hair, I would be tortured to death. I'd be put in front of a firing squad. I know that you don't care. For those of you who are against the war, they're Iranians. Why should we care about them? How does it affect America? But even if you don't care about Iranian life, or let's say you're an Islamophobe and you hate Muslims, let the Muslims kill each other. Let them all kill each other in Iran. That still is not going to stop you from the threat of an Iranian nuclear bomb wiping you out in Chicago, Oklahoma City, San Diego, California, Tucson, Arizona, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon. Yeah, Iranian missiles can already reach from Tehran. They can reach London. Iran fired a missile 2 days ago that went 2,500 miles. That means they could hit London, Paris, Belgium, Rome tomorrow. Give them another year, they can hit any target in the United States of America. That's why we're at war with Iran, because we have to be smart and see the future. You don't wait until you're frickin' fried in a nuclear holocaust to then stop the Ayatollahs from making a bomb which you know they don't need for energy. Iran is an energy superpower. They're an oil superpower. You only build atomic and nuclear superstructures for one of 2 reasons, either for nuclear energy or for nuclear weapons. That's your only 2 choices. Otherwise, you don't need it. So ask yourself, why is Iran for 25 years why are they prepared to be bankrupted by sanctions? Why are they prepared to be cut off from the whole world diplomatically? To have this nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. Why are they prepared to? They need the energy. They need the energy. They're one of the biggest oil exporters in the world. They have so much freaking energy that they sell it to the whole world. They're an energy superpower. It's like saying Burger King doesn't have any beef patties. It's the stupidest argument you could make. Iran is building, and they are enriching uranium for one reason: to build a thermonuclear device that could take out all of New York with one bomb. And if you don't believe that, then you're dumb, uninformed, illiterate, stupid, blind. And you're also guilty of making your children pay the price for your blindness. Let your children be wiped out by a nuclear bomb. I'm not going to be here in 20 years. You're just passing the buck to your kids who are going to have to deal with a nuclear-armed Iran. We already have a nuclear-armed Kim Jong-un in Korea. We can't do a damn thing about that thug because he's now the equivalent of the United States. How's he the equivalent? He's got no economy, he's got no electricity, he's got no cars, but he's got like 10 nuclear bombs. So America can never attack him because we know that the price that we would have to pay. Yeah, President Trump said in his first term that if North Korea ever attacks us, we'll flatten them. Yeah, but are you prepared to go to war with North Korea knowing that we'll lose Miami? Of course not. You would never take that chance. That we could lose St. Louis? That we could lose Washington, D.C.? You would never take that chance. So North Korea is now the equal of the United States, and that's what Iran wants. Iran knows that one bomb and they are the equal. They don't have to build a navy, the Marines, an air force. They don't need any of that. You get one bomb and you hold the world hostage forever. Forever and ever and ever. And that's why they will do anything to get a bomb. And that's why we have to do everything to stop them from getting a bomb. Because if we don't stop Iran from getting a bomb, we will live in terror and fear. Even if they never use it, we will be their slaves forever and ever. So what's a moral war? Like, is the Iran war a moral war? And what are you allowed to do in a moral war? You know that for Christians, morality meant that there could be no war. Until the Crusades, from the beginning of Jesus Christ, until the Crusades, there's no official Christian war. You ever think about that? Because Christians believed in what Jesus said. In Luke chapter 6, verse 30, that you got to turn the cheek to your enemy, never hate, never fight back. There was no idea of a Christian war. But guess what? As soon as the Pope decided in 1095 that the too many Muslims had taken over Jerusalem, he now needed Christian armies and Christian knights. And that's where the Crusades were born. And Crusaders were allowed to actually wear a cross. And that's the image we have till today. Christianity as great soldiers, but not for the first 1,000 years. Now, we Jews never believed in that stuff. We always believed there was moral war. What do you mean there's no moral? Turn the other cheek. I mean, if someone kills you, if someone rapes your wife, you should give him your daughter as well? Is that what Jesus meant? If someone gasses one child, you should let them die of starvation in a camp somewhere else? If the Japanese bomb frickin' Pearl Harbor on the 7th of December, 1941, we should let them, also bomb Los Angeles? Jesus wasn't stupid. Only a stupid person would say that. Only an immoral person would say that. If you're a husband out there and someone hurts your wife and you don't go to slaughter that guy who raped your wife, then what kind of man are you? You're not even freaking moral, let alone turning your daughters over to him. That's not what Jesus meant. And that's why Christianity has had such a problem of being able to delineate what's a moral war, because it's so contradictory. They go from utter pacifism, don't fight anybody. We're Christians. We love Hitler. I've heard Christians tell me that. We love Hitler. We love Osama bin Laden. We may have to kill him, but we love him. I don't love any of these guys. I hate their freaking guts. I believe in kosher hate. I believe in kosher war. I believe in kosher peace. I don't believe in non-kosher peace. The people who don't want us to fight Iran, they want non-kosher peace. They want peace with people who are going to rape women, blow up Americans, build nuclear bombs. That's non-kosher peace. In the same way that you could have kosher sex and non-kosher sex. I wrote kosher sex. Kosher sex is with your wife. Non-kosher sex is with your secretary. There's kosher hate, non-kosher hate. Non-kosher hate is racism. You're a white man and you're Klan and you hate someone because of the color of their skin. That's disgusting. But then there's kosher hate. I hate Hitler's frickin' guts. That is kosher as hell, man. That is glot kosher. So if wars can be moral, is the war in Iran moral? Well, it depends on the objectives, and it depends on the means. The objective, number one, stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, which will threaten America's safety and security forever. Not just Israel, of course Israel. But the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Europe, the United States. Stop making this about the Jews, you dummies. Do you really hate Israel so frickin' much that you're not seeing all the Iranian bombs that are falling on Dubai? Emirates is the best airline in the world. I love it. My friend runs the kosher catering for Emirates. Even his kosher facility in Dubai is gorgeous. And they've grounded the whole fleet because of Iran. Stop bringing up Israel. Dubai is Arab. It's Muslim. Abu Dhabi is Arab. It's Muslim. So first, the objective, stop them from getting a nuclear bomb. Number two, stopping Iran from terrorism, blowing people. Number three, is it a kosher objective? Is it a legitimate objective to wage war? Let's say we went to war against Iran for one reason, because they tried to kill President Trump. I believe that's enough of a reason to go to war with Iran. I'm sorry, if you hire a hitman to kill the president of the United States, if we knew that Russia had killed Kennedy, there would have been even a nuclear war. And that's why Russia did everything they could to prove that they had nothing to do with Kennedy's assassination, and no one would have argued. They would have said, you killed our 46-year-old president? Iran hired hitmen to kill President Trump, to decapitate our leadership. That was enough of a reason. You can't have a democracy where leaders are frickin' shot and killed by foreign actors and not make them afraid of you. That was enough of a reason. Then there's all the rest, which I find very moral. I know American firsters don't like them. Go to war to stop Iranian women from being tortured and beaten to death. Stop Iran from taking LGBTQ Iranians, hanging them from cranes. I hesitate to even say this because most of us Americans, we don't have a moral center anymore. We don't even care about other people. All we hear is America first, America first, America first, and we forget how many times America needed the aid of the world. You would be your king would be King Charles III right now, if not for the fact that the French in 1783 cut off, the French fleet cut off Cornwallis from retreating at Yorktown. That's how George Washington won the war. That's how we became Americans. If the French had said, screw these dumb Americans, screw this new nation called America, we're French first, there wouldn't even be a United States of America. But I hesitate to even say that, because all of you are looking and saying, what do I care about if Iranians are killed? What do I care if little children in Iran are starved to death? Why should I care? I'm America first. It's such an ugly sentiment that it makes me almost ashamed to be an American. America was once the light of the world. It saw itself as manifest destiny, from sea to shining sea, that we had moral purpose. We brought freedom to the world. Now we say, screw them. Screw them all. That's what Candace Owens stands for. Screw them all. They're not Americans. Let them die. And the Jews are the ones who want us to go to war for them. So the Jews should die first, so we don't have to hear the damn Jews the whole time. Let them die. And what is Tucker Carlson? What's his whole thing? How did this guy become so famous? One single message. Screw the world. American life is the only one that matters. Nothing else matters. And these are the people that you are all dumb enough to listen to and persuade you. You're not embarrassed. Would you tell your kids this message? Would you use the Tucker Carlson book for children, where you read to your kids every night? And as Mary had a little lamb, and her lamb was as white as snow, because it wasn't American, she let it die and go to dough. Sorry for the terrible pun. Would you tell your kids these values? That if you're not American, your life is worthless. Aren't you ashamed? It's one thing to say America first, but America only? They killed 40,000 people in Iran. You don't give one frickin' damn, really? As long as you have the new iPhone 17 Max? As long as you have your new Tesla? We watched them killed, watched with our own eyes. We watched them, the Iranians, just a month ago. I know that they were killing Iranians. Iranian life doesn't matter. How does it affect America? We watched them with 50 caliber machine guns. A 50 caliber bullet is this big. They were killing protesters with bullets that rip and shred their heads off and reduce their bodies to mush and pulp. But America first, screw them all. There was a time when Americans had a soul. Now, am I saying we should go to war for all these people? No. We don't have the money for all that. And I'm not saying American boys for Kansas should die to liberate women in Tehran. What I am saying is that in every generation, there's one actor, usually the worst, that America, or whoever is the superpower of the time, has to hold accountable so that the lesser actors learn their lesson. Do I want to see American troops on the ground? Let's be specific. Do I want to see American boots on the ground in Iran? Absolutely not. I don't, because it didn't work in Iraq. Not because it's not just. It's a very just war. To remove this disgusting regime would be an act of God. It would be justice. It would be righteousness. The problem is, it didn't work. We tried it in Iraq, and it didn't work because the Iranian people need to do it themselves. But they need our help. Don't put American troops. Bomb the crap out of them until the people rise up. Should we blow up their power stations? A close friend of mine said to me, Shmuley, is it moral for the United States to destroy, as President Trump has threatened, the electricity stations in Iran that will lead to people dying, just to bring down the regime? The regime are the ones who are making them die. Yeah, if you take out the electricity, a lot of Iranians, it's still winter. They may have no heat. Some may die of cold and frost. In the summer, some of them may die of crazy heat. The highest recorded temperature in the world ever was in Iran, like 129 degrees Fahrenheit. Some may die. It's terrible. But with the regime, many more will die. Tens of thousands, hundreds of, if they get nuclear, millions will die. So President Trump, don't put boots on the ground, but fight the frickin' war, at least from the air, completely. Completely. If you're going to fight the damn war, fight the damn war. That means, of course you take out their electricity stations. Of course you take out their ability to produce oil. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be disgusting for 3 or 4 months. But then, God willing, we can't put American Marines to force a democracy on Iran. It didn't work in Iraq, and it didn't work in Afghanistan, and it won't work in Iran. But if we do enough damage to this regime so that people don't have electricity and they already don't have any money, they barely have any food, they'll finally say, what the hell? And then more people will rise up. And yeah, the regime will kill so many of them. It'll be terrible. I don't know how many the regime's going to kill. It's terrifying. But what alternative do the people have? To live as slaves, as they're living now, as utter slaves? They can't even watch this damn show. They have no internet. When we Americans went up against the British, we were only fighting for taxes on our tea, taxes on our stationery, and we were prepared, all of us, to die. Was it Benjamin Franklin who famously said, we must all stand together because we will otherwise all hang together? They were prepared to hang together. The 1% of the United States died in the war of our war of independence. Today, of course, with nuclear weapons, it could be so much more. But all Americans were prepared to die for that freedom. The Iranians have to take their country back. We can help them. It shouldn't be our Marines. It shouldn't be our soldiers. I think we should have soldiers take over their major ports of oil and things like that, and just strategic areas, but not massive armies. Strategic locations that would be determined by people far wiser than me about what those strategic locations are, like the Strait of Hormuz. If Iran is terrorizing the Strait of Hormuz and no oil can get through, then you need to capture all their bases there, and you need to put American Marines, with the help of the French and the British, force them to. They're in NATO, force them to. That we have to do. But no giant armies like we had in Iraq. It didn't work. But President Trump, you're wondering, should you do X, Y, and Z? If you're going to fight a war from the air, fight the war from the air. You don't want to go all out and put boots on the ground? Okay, so it's not a total war. We're not putting boots on the ground, but fight the war from the air completely and fully, as Israel is doing. Israel's Air Force is a freaking peanut compared to the U.S. Air Force. And yet Israel has flown something like 8,000 sorties. A sortie is a bombing raid. Israel, a tiny little country that could fit on this desk, has flown something like 8,000 bombing raids already. So let's go through this again. Is the war in Iran moral? Absolutely. Why? Because of its ends. Liberate people, stop them from getting a nuclear bomb, stop terrorism, stop their threat to America, protect American lives. The means is just. America's not targeting civilians. God forbid. We're not like Iran that are indiscriminately firing missiles at Israel, at Dubai, at Abu Dhabi, trying to blow up children and nurseries and hospitals. So the end has to be just, the means has to be just. But should we go further with their electrical capacity and the world capacity? Absolutely. The people from Iran have to take their country back. They did it once before. They took it from the Shah and handed it over to these disgusting Ayatollahs. And boy, was that a mistake. And if you think they don't regret it, they regret it. But we know they are capable. They marched in the streets and they know that the Savak, which belonged to the Shah, could have mowed them all down. In the end, it's interesting. Was the Shah a tyrant? Partially, he was. In the approximately 40 years of his reign, he killed about 3,700 Iranians. That's 3,700 too many. If President Trump had killed one American, we'd call him a tyrant. If President Obama had killed one American, we'd call him a tyrant. 3,700 is too much. But compared to the Khomeini and Khamenei, you can't compare lives. Each is of infinite value, but it's incomparable. These people are freaking animals. They killed 40,000 in 1 week a month ago. In 1 week! The Shah killed 3,700 in 40 years. So we know the Iranian people are capable of taking their country back, but not if they see that America is fighting this war with one hand tied behind its back. That one hand already, so we won't put, ground forces. But you're going to tie the second hand as well? At least one strong American arm. That's, it says in the Bible, God brought his hand down, about to read it on Passover, down on Egypt. That was one freaking giant blow from the divine. America was a superpower. But if you're going to barely fight the air war as well. Now, I get that President Trump is very concerned about the price of gas, because the number one reason the way people vote, believe it or not, first and foremost, is hard to make this up, price of gas. And I get that. That's not a bad thing, because we all have to support our families. The price of gas is not American materialism. It's not like we want to buy diamonds or gold. It's driving your kids to school. It's driving to the supermarket. I get it. So the price of gas matters. And whether or not you can pay your electricity bill matters. But ultimately, the price of gas will go higher for about 3 or 4 months while America totally dismantles Iran's offensive capacity to strike terror in any of its neighbors, to hurt Americans. And you're going to end up, per household, you're going to have to spend probably $300 or $400 extra. And for some of you, that's probably $300 or $400 you may not even have. I get it. But sometimes the price of freedom, there's always a cost. And we should be happy it's $300 or $400 in the next 3 or 4 months. Now, if it continues to skyrocket past 6 months, we have to really rethink strategy, of course. Any responsible leader, any responsible nation reacts to events, has goals, clear goals and objectives, and if they can't be reached, you have to recalibrate. But right now, we have to pound Iran with our Air Force and with our drones and with our stealth bombers day and night until the people of Iran see that the mullahs cannot handle it anymore. But if the people see that we are half-hearted, even in our air efforts, they will never rise up because they're tired of being killed. You know when Hitler lost the German people? It's when whole German cities were being bombed. And how do we justify that till today? I mean, Churchill was moral. Roosevelt was moral. They bombed out all of Dresden. They bombed out all of Berlin. They bombed out all of Hamburg. They bombed out all of Cologne. I'm not justifying any of this. War is hell. As William Tecumseh Sherman famously said, war is frickin' hell. There's no good war. There's only moral war and immoral war, justified war and unjustified war. There's no good war. There's no war that's good. These options in Iran are all ugly. They're all terrible. They all suck. But the cancer of the mullahs sucks worse. When you, God forbid, have to amputate a damn limb because it's completely gangrenous, it's horrible. But the body dying is even worse. The body politic of Iran is dying, and it's taking down the whole region. The Middle East has become cancerous because of this disgusting government. For 50 years, we've seen the Middle East become a junkyard of terror, blood, guts, bombs. How much more cancer are we going to frickin' allow? And is there a guarantee that it's all going to work? No. And that's the worst part of it, because Americans are saying, we did this. Nation building, we tried it in Iraq, tried it in Afghanistan. You're right. We have to learn from our mistakes. That's why I said no armies. You cannot impose democracy from outside. Thank God we did it in Germany, right? We created democracy after Hitler. Did it in Japan under MacArthur. MacArthur was the dictator of Japan from 1945 to 1950. He created, the difference was the Japanese had been beaten so badly militarily that they knew that they could not rise up militarily. They had to accept American democratization. And the Iranians don't know that yet. And the Middle East doesn't know that yet. And I don't want to go there. I don't want to see another world war. But I know the Iranian people want freedom because I've seen them march for freedom. So in that sense, this is not like Iraq, and this is not like Afghanistan. Stop making all these comparisons. I hate when we compare everything to Vietnam, and everything to Iraq, and everything to Afghanistan. In Vietnam, we did not see hundreds of thousands of people marching against the government, being mowed down by the government. In Iraq, we did not see hundreds of thousands. Actually, there was a big revolt in Iraq. And then Saddam Hussein killed them all. And America did not help them. That was during the first George Bush administration. That was a huge mistake. We missed an opportunity, just like President Obama missed a huge opportunity in the Green Revolution in 2009 in Iran when he didn't help. We saw Iranians marching everywhere and he did nothing. So President Trump can't lose that opportunity now. The Iranians want freedom. We've seen it. They're dying for it, literally dying for it. And Iran is hanging them by the day. So, why do people like Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, why do they hate this war so much? Why do they, it's typical, the neocons, and they're all Jews. The neocons are all Jews. And they just want to waste American lives to save Israel. Why do they hate this war so much? Why do these wicked people, let's go through them one by one. Why do someone like Candace Owens, who says that Jews drink blood of Christians, if that's not wicked, if that's not evil, then if that's not stupid, then the word stupidity has no meaning and evil has no meaning. Megyn Kelly, a woman who's openly speaking about Mark Levine's penis? Are you kidding me? You're going to take direction from a woman? That's the level of her argument? She has gone back to kindergarten? Nick Fuentes, racist, Hitler lover, quite literally says he loves Hitler, loves Stalin, who killed 30 million people. Why do they all hate this war? Because they all hate America. They hate what America represents. Because you know what America represents? America represents the light. America represents blessing. America represents generosity. America represents heart. That's why we're so proud to be Americans. I've lived all over the world. I lived in Australia. I lived in England. You're not going to see English flags flying outside people's homes. In Australia, you never see an Australian flag flying outside. In America, I have RV'd, driven all over. From sea to shining sea, there are American flags. We're so proud because we're so special, because we're blessed, and our blessing comes from our generosity and our goodness and our compassion and our love of freedom. But these are agents of darkness. Candace Owens is an agent of darkness, like a vampire who is burned by the light. She cannot take the blessing of America. She hates America because she hates herself, and misery loves company. She hates anyone that isn't her because she's lonely and broken and miserable. And I never speculate about the state of other people's marriages except Candace Owens. Because if her own father-in-law can speculate about her marriage, if her own father-in-law, Michael Farmer, great man, one of the richest men in England, comes out and condemns his disgusting daughter-in-law, says that she's an anti-Semite. If her father-in-law can try to rip his son away from that beast the monster that Candace Owens, then Rabbi Shmuley can do so as well. Candace Owens is miserable, lonely, broken, and filled with hate. Tucker Carlson, every picture you see of him, fishing alone, hunting alone, he's a lonely loser who was kicked out on his butt by Fox News. He has no community of broadcasters. He has no community of journalists. His community are now the other broken people. All the broken, lonely, miserable people. And you'll see that with all the America haters and all the Israel haters, all the anti-Semites. They have one thing in common, loneliness. And why do they hate Jews? Why do they hate America? And don't say the two are not conflated. All these people who hate Jews all say that the Jews took over America, which is another way of saying you hate America, right? If hatred of Jews and Jews equals America, that means you have to hate America. The answer is that Jews have the tightest communities and families. That's what they hate about us. They can't understand. How does a nation that has been through so much, how are they so steely and so strong and so loving and so united? And look at America, the United States of America. How many countries have that in their name? There's the United Kingdom, but we call it Britain, England. It's not united at all. Scotland wants to go. Wales wants to go. Frickin' Northern Ireland is where all the troubles were. There is no United Kingdom. It's just a word. But we are the United States of America. Anyone who is lonely and broken and miserable hates seeing love. Like a vampire that can't look at a cross. Like a vampire that can't look at the light. These are agents of darkness. And that's why they hate Israel so much. Why won't these Jews just die already? Why won't you just die already? I mean, with Hitler, you made it easy. Can't you make it easy again? Why won't you just die already? These are agents of darkness. These are agents of death. They love death. That's why their message is so negative, so uninspiring, so miserable to even look at the way Candace Owens, the way she looks when she speaks with that grimace, that permanent grimace. Tucker Carlson never smiles. And his laughter is a monomaniacal, hysterical laughter. And you feel sorry for him. He's insane. It's an insane laughter because he can't laugh because it's all facade. There's no joy in him at all. His laughter is one of the most Tucker Carlson's laughter is one of the most unnerving things I've ever seen in modern times. It is positively freaking terrifying. You can make whole horror movies about it. Nick Fuente's smile. You ever see Nick Fuente, that smirk on his face? These are miserable miscreants. These are knuckle-dragging Neanderthals. And the Jews and America and Israel and the European democracies who fought Hitler, France, England, they represent the light. So they hate them all because these are agents of death. Like ancient Egypt, who focused entirely on building giant pyramids of death. The giant pyramids. Candace Owens, every day on her show, builds a pyramid of death. Like some of the churches, when they were like in the Crusades, just killing people, everybody, and they actually built churches of bones. Go and see them, made of bones. Every day, Tucker Carlson creates a cathedral of bones. More and more disgusting hatred upon which he wants to build America. Hatred, racism. Not unity, not togetherness, fragmentation, isolation, hatred. And the only question is, why are you dumb enough to buy it? Are you also that broken? Are you that miserable? Do you feel better hating Jews? Do you feel better hating America? Do you feel better hating Muslims? Do you feel better hating blacks? Must you put someone else down to lift yourself up? That shows how broken you really are. Well, Candace and Megyn Kelly, even Megyn Kelly, she's the biggest disappointment of all. She was once normal. Tucker Carlson was never normal. Candace Owens was never normal. Years ago, when she was seen as pro-Israel, I couldn't stand her. Ask my kids. My kids used to praise her to me because, she's been through every ideological path. Wherever she made more money, she once made money praising Israel. Now she makes more money hating Israel. I couldn't stand her from the beginning. I knew she was a charlatan. I said it all the time. But maybe you're so broken in your own life that instead of repairing your marriage, or picking up the phone and calling one of your kids who you haven't spoken to in 10 years, or going and visiting your grandparents because it's boring and they don't have a lot of energy, it's so much easier just to watch Candace hate the whole world. And now you hate the whole world more than you hate yourself. That's so damn easy. It's so convenient. And it fixes nothing. It fixes absolutely nothing. It all remains completely broken. You're a broken person following an even more broken person. And you're splitting and you're tearing the world asunder. And there's not going to be any United States of America left by the time Tucker and Candace and Nick Fuentes, open racist frickin' Hitler lovers. If you would have told me as a kid when I was growing up in Los Angeles, Miami Beach, if you would have told me as an American kid born in LA in 1966 that I would be living through a time when people with tens of millions of American followers every day would be openly praising Hitler, I would have said, are you out of your frickin' mind? We defeated Hitler. We're the ones who died. 400,000 Americans died fighting Hitler. I can't believe the times we're living in. And you not only believe it, but you're going to be a part of it. I was on a cruise recently speaking to a Jewish group, and this woman sits down, very attractive woman with her husband. She had 2 kids, and I was there with my son, David Chaim, and she sits down right next to me. I didn't know what she wanted, and she says, I want you to know I love Candace and I hate you. Whoa. This is a true story. This is like one of the bars on the cruise. I said, okay. I said, let me catch up a little bit. That's a lot to digest. She said, let me say it slowly so you can understand, Rabbi Shmuley. She recognized me, obviously. I hate you, Rabbi Shmuley, because Candace hates me more than probably any human being on earth, which is the greatest compliment that I've ever had in my life. And I love Candace Owens. So I said to her, and her name was Christina, I said, why don't we do a video together? Instead of let's air, she said, because you're just going to put on a show. And you're not going to say, no, I'll say how I really feel. And I did it. And you can watch it on my Instagram. It was 38 minutes long. And at the end of it, I didn't hug her because I don't hug women that aren't my wife, but I hugged her husband and he hugged me. Did they change their mind on Rabbi Shmuley? They absolutely did. Not because they like my views. They don't like my views. They saw that Candace Owens had demonized me, that she had made Jews with hook noses, and little horns to drink blood. She believed all these lies. Hitler, Goebbels, that's all Candace Owens is. She's a modern day Goebbels. And all Christina had to see was that I could disagree with her and respect her and show her equality, that her viewpoint mattered, because she was told that Jews condescend. They just want money. They want control. America does the same, right? All these America haters, America exploits, America takes over, America dominates. They hate America. It's the same. You know, anti-Semitism and anti-Americanism are the same thing. They're always the same accusations. Think about it. Jews drink Christian blood. America drank all the Vietnamese blood. They just slaughtered everybody. My Lai, everywhere else. Americans love blood. The Jews control the world. American imperialism. Pax Americana. America wants to take over the whole world. That's what Putin says every freaking day. I'm not the tyrant. America's the tyrant. Jews love money. They love money. How many people say day and night, Americans love money? Americans are so materialistic. They're so dumb. I lived in Europe. You didn't live in Europe, most of you watching. I know the Europeans think that we're dudgerheads, dum-dums who only know how to make money, that we're stupid. And we live just for money and materialism, exactly like anti-Semitism. Because the hatred of Jews in America stems from the same thing, the hatred of life, the hatred of connection, the hatred of togetherness, the hatred of family, the hatred of community, the hatred of God. Is Candace Owens the Antichrist? Of course not. She's a nothing. She's a zero. The Antichrist, should he one day come, will probably be someone who's got some kind of... Candace can't even pronounce English words. Is Tucker Carlson the Antichrist? Tucker Carlson, only in the sense that he has a demonic laugh, but in everything else, he's pathetic. He's a two-bit loser who's been forced, since he was fired from Fox for telling lies. He was fired even by the right wing for his constant lies. He's a one-trick pony. Every day he gets in your face and he says, I hate Jews. Now let me tell you 50 reasons why I hate Jews. The next day, I hate Jews. Let me give you 50 ways that you could hate Jews. Aren't you guys, isn't it boring after a while? No, it's actually not. If you hate yourself so much, then finding a victim who you can hate more is actually liberating. So a lot of you find hatred, racism, anti-Semitism, bigotry. You actually find it liberating because it liberates you from your own focus of your own self-hatred. I get it. It's actually freedom. It almost feels like love. I now love myself because this person's worse than me. At least I'm not a Jew who's trying to take over the world. At least I'm not some American soldier who just shoots and kills people. At least I'm not Donald Trump who grabs women by the, at least I'm not that. I hate these people. It's liberating. But actually it's not. It's enslavement. Every one of you who is dumb enough to put your time, or worse, your money, your hard-earned money. You're worried about like higher gas prices, the war in Iran. If you are dumb enough, gullible enough, stupid enough, naive enough to actually pay the subscription prices for Tucker Carlson, I don't know what TCN is every day, or Candace, or if you're dumb enough to give these people your money, then God Almighty, have I got a frickin' bridge to sell you. I cannot believe that you are so bored with your life, that you're so filled with such self-hatred that you would give these people $1 to entertain you, that you are so frickin' empty, that you're so frickin' devoid of conscience, of soul, of light, that you would give your money to agents of darkness. God, have you really fallen that low? Then pick your damn self up. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Stop thinking you're going to get better by pushing other people down. You're just going to corrode and metastasize and be degraded and become more dependent. When this woman came over to me and said she loves Candace Owens, she said, I listen to her every minute. You know what I said to her? She said, I listen to her every minute. I don't listen. I said, do you also listen to your husband when he comes home and tells you how his day was? And she admitted it. No, she doesn't listen with as much attention as even she listens to Candace Owens' hatred. I said, do you listen to your kids? Or do they have to, most kids have to say things, listen, I'm a father of 9 kids. They have to say same requests. Tati, can I have candy? Tati, can you pick me up? Say it 3 or 4 times because but not when Candace says her hatred, you hear it the first time. That's how penetrating hatred is. Have you become that person? It's not too late to change.